Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Last time on JoJo, we had The Lovers Part 2, where Kakyoin and Polnareff used Hierophant Green and Silver Chariot inside of Joseph Joestar in order to destroy, well not destroy, but to beat the lovers, and then Dan of Steel was going to send the lovers into a little girl so that Jotaro wouldn't be able to beat him up. But Kakyoin was able to use Hierophant Green to get a trap on the lovers, and yank it out. And then Jotaro just went to town, just annihilating Dan of Steel. And then that was pretty much it. Yeah. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. This is also where I say if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment, click on the link there. That will take you over to the reaction. You can watch it just like a normal reaction, and when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here to this YouTube video for the discussion. So with that being said, let's get right into this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah. Well, that was anticlimactic. What the hell? That sucked. What are you doing? What are you doing? That was so cool. It was such an interesting stand, and then it's just done. What? Come on. Are you? Like, I knew, okay, obviously, yeah, it's like, oh, this is not a part 1, part 2. I knew that going in, because it doesn't say part 1, but come on, what was that? What kind of ending is that? For one of, like, the most interesting stands ever, because honestly, it was very basic. It's like, what's this guy's stand? The sun. Oh, you mean like the tarot card? No, it's just the sun. He can make a star. And it's just done. Well, that sucked. That was a great episode too, until it just done. Bye. It's like they build this whole thing up, and then are like, well, how do we beat this guy? Who cares? Let's move on. You know, I like Stardust Crusaders. I do. Let me put that out there first. I enjoy Stardust Crusaders. I think it is still really good. But it is rife with criticism. Like, there are a lot of problems in Stardust Crusaders. A lot of problems with Stardust Crusaders. And it just, like, it's some of them, like, are, even if they're problems, like, I can kind of get over them. But this, come on. I thought there was, okay, you know what else? Because it's not just like, oh, that was anticlimactic. That's one thing. But the thing was, they hyped that up so much. Like, oh my gosh, this stand is impossible. You know, this stand is ridiculous. It is a star. It is a sun. This guy's stand is the sun. And he's heating everything up. And then it's like, oh my gosh, you know, everyone else is losing it except Joseph. And it's like, oh my gosh. You know what? It's building up that Joseph is going to have to go down there and get his hands dirty, you know? Like, and I'm not saying like, oh, Joseph will make like a sacrifice or something, but we are gearing up for a classic battle tendency Joseph Joestar fight scene. Like, we are gearing the hell up for that. Like, Joseph Joestar is about to go prove why he's still Joseph fucking Joestar. And then they throw a rock and the episode ends. They literally just take a rock, just... We're done. Go, leave. What are you doing here? You know? Why are you still here? We're done. And then it's just over. You hyped up what could have been one of the coolest Joseph Joestar fights of the entire show. And then you just threw a rock, and then it's over. And I can't even... Because there's a part of me that's like, oh, well, this is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you know? Things are bizarre. And sometimes that just happens. But even JoJo's Bizarre Adventure can deliver on a fight. As bizarre as these adventures are, the fights can be amazing. And then it's just like, oh no, we're just going to throw a rock. Ora. I guess he's gone. Next. End of episode. We don't get any sort of confrontation. We don't get... And maybe this is still because 18 weeks in, over 18 episodes in at least, 18 episodes in, I cannot get over the fact that Joseph Joestar is not the main character anymore. Because I swear to God, he's still more of a main character than Jotaro is. Like... And so when you hype up what could have been one of the greatest Joseph Joestar fights of the show, and not even like, look, would this have been like better than maybe like Wamu or Cars? I don't know, but it could have been a damn cool fight. And he's even saying it's like, oh, this will be difficult for me to even use my ultimate moves and stuff. And it's like, ultimate moves? Does he just mean Hermit Purple, or does he mean Hamon? Does he mean both? How is Joseph Joestar with sunlight energy and some vines going to stop the sun? It's the sun. His power set comes from that. How could he do it? How could he do it? And then the author realizes, oh, I don't know. How can he? I know I laid everything out about this encounter to be like, how is Joseph Joestar with vines and sunlight powers going to beat a literal sun? That is the question he builds up, and then the author's like, I don't know. So whatever, let's throw a rock and then be done. I gotta tell you guys, Now, look, it's not that I hate Stardust Crusaders, but there are some things where it's like, yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, the inconsistency of stands, I could even kind of get over that, I could get over the inconsistency of stands, because when stands are good, they're really, really good, A bad stand is just sort of there for an episode and then we're done. We move on, Like, all right, we had that stand. It wasn't really the greatest, but we beat it. Let's move on to better, more interesting stands. Justice, great, love that. The Lovers, great, love that. The Sun, great, love that. And it's just, whatever, who cares? Let's just throw a rock and move on. I can get over the inconsistent, even the boat stand, for God's sake, that was a fun reaction at least. It was ridiculous, and, that was such a ridiculous episode that it's like, oh, well, at least this is going, balls out, basically. But, so I can get over the inconsistencies in the rules of stands. I can get over not having Dio, even though this would be so much better if we would just cut to Dio every so often. When was the last time we cut to Dio? It's been so long since we've seen him. And the villains themselves, they aren't really the greatest, you know? Like, these stand users, they're not the most interesting. You know, like, I think the most interesting has been Enyaba. You know, I think she's been the best stand user so far. And with the rest of them, it's like, okay, they're okay, but we're sitting here waiting for Dio. And I can get over that. And I can get over the lack of Dio, and I can get over the inconsistency of the stands. But what the hell was that climax? What the hell? You promised me, even if you don't go the route of the ultimate, one of the best Joseph Joestar fights, even if you just well, maybe Joseph comes up with a plan, or just something, a fight for God's sake. But no, you threw a rock and it ended. Like, they literally, the guy wrote himself into a corner and was like, hey, let's throw a rock. What? And it's stuff like this that consistently knocks Stardust Crusaders down for me. Like, I want to really, love this. But I don't love it. I like it, but I don't love it. I love Phantom Blood. I love Battle Tendency. I don't love Stardust Crusaders. It's weaker. It's just weaker because you take the inconsistency of the stands and the lack of Dio, and I can ignore that. I can try to get past that, but there's just too many things piled up one after another that knocks down my enjoyment of Stardust Crusaders. And maybe I'm overblowing this. And I kind of don't want you to think I'm overblowing this, because I still like this. I'm still having fun. I'm still having a good time. I like Stardust Crusaders, but I don't love Stardust Crusaders. And when I finished Battle Tendency, and people said, you're going into the best part of JoJo. Best part. And in the anime, they've finished 5 parts, and I'm pretty sure in the manga they're on part 8. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're on part 8. I don't know if they finished it or not. I don't know. I don't keep track of that, obviously. But for people to say, this is the best stuff right here. Really? Are you sure? Are you really, really sure about that? Now, we still have a lot. We still have, what do we have, at least 20 episodes, maybe more episodes left, honestly. How many episodes are in Stardust Crusaders? 48. This is 18. 30. We have 30 episodes left of Stardust Crusaders. So maybe somewhere in there, this amazing best part of JoJo is in there somewhere. But I gotta tell you guys, I haven't found it yet. I have not found it yet. You guys are hype machines, and that's fine. And if you love this, that's great. Don't let me take that away from you. But there's too many things. And at a point, I can't ignore them anymore. I try to get past the stands. I try to get past the lack of Dio. But there's just too many things that keep knocking little holes into Stardust Crusaders, and it knocks down part of my enjoyment. And again, stand inconsistency, I can get past it. I can just be like, okay, whatever the rules for stands are on a stand by stand basis. Like, every stand has its own rules, who cares? There is vague consistency between all the stands. That's it. And then there's vague inconsistency between the stands. All right. Dio's not really a part of the story. That's pretty minor, honestly. Just because I want Dio, Just because I want Dio. Because I've seen part 1 and I love Dio. Dio's a great villain. I want Dio. But just means I need to sit back. I need to be patient. They will get to Dio when they get to Dio. But just tiny things that knock Stardust Crusaders down and it drives me up a wall. And this is one of them. They built up this stand, and it's a great design. I love how it looks. I love that it's so simple. It's a sun. What's the sun stand? It's a sun. Cool. This guy can just make a sun. Great. This guy can just make a sun. Cool. How do we beat it? Like, okay, well, it seems like the others, they're going insane. Joseph's really having a hard time, and Joseph's like, oh man, they're going insane. What am I going to do? I have to beat this guy somehow, even if it's on my own. And then they just throw a rock, and it's like, oh, well, that's it. Because even in the episode, even Joseph is like, that was it? That was it? Even Joseph is like, that can't have been it. We don't know this guy's name. We didn't talk to him. We didn't even beat his stand. We just threw a rock at him. It's like, and we're done? Really? What prevents that guy from getting up and using his stand again? They didn't kill him. It was like, oh man, they threw a rock at me. I better go back to Dio. Although, here's a question. Would the sun stand burn Dio? Huh. That's a good question. Question we won't have answered, but it's a nice little question. It's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, Hamon is generated from the person, so honestly, you could probably say the sun stand is just a giant ball of Hamon, basically. To kind of go into the notes, what was it? It was the United Arab Emirates, right? That was a cool location. I like that. I like Joseph's plan of, we'll get a really fancy car so that we can trade it for camels and water. Okay, that was pretty clever. I like that. I love the whole thing about camels. That was funny. Joseph trying to get them to sit and stuff, and he's like, I'll have you know, I've seen Lawrence of Arabia 3 times. Granted, 2 of those times I fell asleep halfway through, but still. And, it's like, oh, of course, that's how Joseph knows how to ride a camel, as he saw a movie. That's so Joseph Joestar, So I like that. And so that was cool. I like that. And just anything with Joseph, again, Joseph's still the main character. You honestly can't tell me otherwise. Joseph Joestar is still the main character. Yeah, Jotaro's the puncher, but Joseph Joestar is the character. Then we had the sun. The sun was cool. I like that. Now, they did mention range, which was an interesting thing they said. It's like, it's like, oh, maybe this guy, he can, stay at such a distance from his stand. And Joseph's like, no, a stand that powerful, he has to stay close by or else it won't work. Which makes sense, That's why Steely Dan could, be at such a distance from the lovers, is because it was such a weak stand, Whereas the sun, it's a literal sun in the sky, so he has to stay close. Okay, that was very interesting. Like, that's the vague consistency between them. That's why, Star Platinum, like, I'm pretty sure either they've said this or you guys have said this in the comments, that's the difference sort of between Star Platinum and Hierophant Green. Hierophant Green is not as powerful and has a much longer range than Star Platinum. So that's a little bit of consistency between them. Again, how some of these guys can see through their stands while Polnareff cannot, I don't know. I've given up on that. Even if they explain it, it's not going to work. Whatever it is. So yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. Again, just them being sort of, backed into a corner was interesting. And, I was like, what do they do? And the thing was, because because, when Joseph, got the binoculars, it was immediately shot down. That meant that, whoever was using the sun had to be in front of them, So I like that. And then, again, it hypes up. It just so hypes up, okay, here comes one of the biggest fights for Joseph Joestar in his life. Oh, we're done. And look, I get it. This is a bizarre adventure. And even Joseph says, that was anticlimactic. And even if you say that, it's still anticlimactic, and it is quite frankly disappointing. After a great episode, funny intro, great, great use of the sun stand, very tense, all the, the direness of the situation is all there. The direness and the straightso of the situation is all there. And then it's just like, we have 20 seconds to finish this. What do we do? Throw a rock. Okay. So, after an incredibly funny intro and one of the most interesting, coolest stands we've ever seen, and the hype it was building up to a great fight, either with Joseph or Joseph figuring something out and Star Platinum going and doing something. Anything. And then it's just... whatever. It's like, well... It's disappointing. And it's stuff like that knocks Stardust Crusaders down. And I know you guys have said this is your favorite part, and that's great. That's great. If this stuff doesn't bother you, that's great. It bothers me. And I hate that we have to keep going on these JoJo rants, but it drives me up a wall. Suddenly everybody loses their minds. But it does. It drives me up a wall. These tiny, tiny things that knock Stardust Crusaders down. I want this to be as good as the first two. But it's not. I don't love it. I like it. I don't love it. That said, we do have 30 more episodes of Stardust Crusaders. 30. Well over half of this part left. So, we have a long way to go. We have a very long way to go. And a lot of time to make this the best, or at least as good as the first two. And I hope, beyond all hope, that we actually get that. Because if not, then I will comfortably say that Stardust Crusaders is third place. And then I will have to hope for part 4. But we'll see. Let's try to be optimistic. Let's try to be optimistic. We have 30 episodes left of this part. I am optimistic that they are going to get their act together and we're going to pull together with a really great part. I'm optimistic. And I'm optimistic because the pieces are there. The pieces are there. They just need to put the friggin' pieces together. So, I'm optimistic. Let's see where they're going to go next time. So with all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching another JoJo rant. If you want to watch more of my JoJo rants for some reason, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.